Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another replay that I took from the casted section of Reddit. This one is going to be a ZVZ, and it's going to be actually between no ordinary players. In the lower right-hand corner spawning is our red Zerg. I give you guys check 6 TempO. And in the upper left-hand corner spawning is our blue Zerg, Madison. Not entirely sure where Madison's reputation comes from, but, well, I mean, both of these guys were in Diamond League, but I want to go ahead and fix some stuff, considering this is my ladder setup that I'm using right now. Alright, so I'm going to take this to a bit of a cinematic mode, if you will. Sorry about that. And... okay, bring up the observer tools. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I hope that's not too much of a hiccup for you, but, lower left-hand corner, of course, check 6's TempO. Or is it Infinity 7? I forget. Check 6 was the guys who had Maximus Black, and the way the tag looks right now, it's just, it was easy to confuse them, I think. But of course, TempO is famous for making all of this music in the StarCraft 2 scene. He made When I Get to Grandmasters. He also made a few other parody songs that were featured at MLGs. One of them was It was a song that was also used in that film called the Slumdog Millionaire, but he made a parody song of it, and he's like, I storm your army, and yeah, all that good stuff. It was kind of strange the way he made that song. But this map, Akilon Wastes, in the context of ZVZ, if we were to see Muta on Muta battles, then basically it would, there's huge windows of opportunity, and I think this could mean for a lot of gambling, if you will. Sorry about that. Sorry, I just switched to Chinese for a second there, and yeah. Sorry guys, bilingual caster for those of you who don't already know what I do. But just out tabbing real quick, making sure I got the right exploit window open, and we're good to go. Alright, so deviations in the openers. Thus far we see TempO going for a pool first opener. And Madison's gonna have a double hatch opener and immediately follows it up with an extractor, and he's soon to throw down a pool, I'm sure. But speaking of hatches, TempO's just now goes down, and he's gonna have about a 40-second deficit. Basically, that's more time that we're gonna see queens come out from his opponent. Long story short, Madison's gonna have a bit more production than that of TempO, and what TempO is aiming to do here is basically he's going to capitalize, on using his lings to get a few drone kills, maybe force a few more drones from his opponent than he would like to make. Did I just say force drones? I meant to say force larvae to be turned into zerglings. Sorry about that. Could be worse. I was actually in a class earlier today, and one of my professors was constantly referring to North Vietnam as North Korea. And that, yeah, I interrupted him the third time he said it, and I said, "Professor, sorry, did you mean North Vietnam?" He said, oh yes, I'm sorry. And every time I said North Vietnam or North Korea before this, I meant to say North Vietnam. Which brings me to my next point. I'm studying abroad in Korea. So yeah. And now we see the metabolic boost going down for both players. TempO's is going to finish about 20 seconds ahead of that of his opponent. He's just sending out 2 lings for now. He is making 6 more. Presently, his opponent has scouted that, he saw when that hatch was going down. But it looks like TempO gets away with nothing right now, and he forces a few lings out of his opponent, but not enough. Not enough. There's only 4 lings total coming out of him, and TempO is actually going to have, he just put an explosion of lings in the production tab. And what's really dangerous is that he's actually stopped taking gas. Understandable considering he needs to get the economy back up from minerals. But behind all of that, Madison was and still is taking gas. And he's going to have banelings out on the map pretty soon here. So lings coming back from TempO just now, and 4 slow lings are going to go into the natural of TempO and get absolutely slaughtered here. And 2 banelings back at home are morphing, but are they going to be done before those lings arrive? They should be, if not close to it, very close to it. And this is a huge wave of lings. I mean, I think more, 2 banelings, if they make absolutely perfect connections, it'll do great. But, oh, the lings just go straight into the main. Oh, wait, they're getting choked here. Oh, man, that's not good for TempO. And Madison is not so effective with that last Baneling connection, but it did the job, and as long as we see Madison reinforce, he should be okay. But, well, it looks like he misclicked 2 Banelings over here. They got over in this direction. Interesting. And, oh, look at this. Look at this. TempO almost falls for it, but he divides off 1 Ling, and he's good to go. But more morphing at home, and only 1 Ling detonates, or, excuse me, only 1 Baneling is forced to detonate right outside the natural. TempO continuing to stream in more Lings, resuming the gas, getting his Baneling nest thrown down, and the question is he going all in from here? It might possibly be so. But Madison is also looking to retaliate right now as he is sending out a huge wave of Lings with no Banelings morphing ready in position. In fact, he's using these Banelings back at home for defense in case, by whatever means of micro, we see TempO basically get around what he's already got here. And that's not a so good concave, if you will, for Madison. He does have 2 Banelings about to finish up, and it looks like TempO just lost vision of that. And he's spreading out his Lings, which is good. That's really good, because if you are going to be doing Ling Baneling battles, then it's good to only have a handful of Lings going at them at a time. Those ones are on hold position, and that didn't work out too well for TempO. I will have to remember that technique on the ladder from now on. Alright, so Madison is basically forced back for the time being, forces a few Banelings at TempO, but beyond that, he's actually got a gas lead. So what's he going to do with that? And it looks like my question has been answered. He's going double evolution chamber. No Roach Warren just yet, but I'm leaning towards saying that's going to be Roaches. I could be entirely wrong, as we do have, you know, I want to say, I don't want to say unrefined. I don't want to say unrefined strategies, but of course, neither of these players are in Masters League. But of course, the one thing that I love about Diamond players is that they know the rules. They know when they're losing, and they're doing whatever they can to keep themselves from losing. There it is. 2 Banelings still alive, untouched, unscathed. But beyond that, Madison's actually carrying a pretty big drone lead. He's getting +1 missile and +1 carapace. He hasn't thrown down the Roach Warren just yet. So this is going to be basically transitional. Ooh, not so good Baneling connection there from TempO, but he's got tons of Lings here. And I think the big mistake that we could see Madison suffering right now is the fact that he doesn't have any Roaches just yet. 2 Banelings coming in, shooing away the rest of those Lings. And TempO is kind of in a teeny bit of hot water. But is this a timing attack, excuse me, being devised by Madison? Who knows? Spinecrawler now going down for Madison back at home. Still a handful of Lings out on the map for TempO. I like this defensive move by Madison as he is throwing down his 3rd. Yes, he does have a delayed 3rd. He doesn't have a Roach Warren just yet, but just as I say that, TempO is making his own. And what on earth? What am I seeing? There's no Roach Warren just yet, but what? Well, I guess it doesn't matter as long as he, you know, I mean, +1 Carapace Lings are very effective, and that was a nice connection by nice connection by Madison there. Beautiful defensive connection, not so beautiful connection there from Madison. And TempO just, even though he got, you know, he had the last laugh with that 1 Baneling that got 24 Lings or so, he just has inferior numbers right now. Now, the one big thing, the huge difference that we see in both players right now, aside from the drone count, is the fact that we see TempO now throwing, he's got his Roach Warren up and ready to go, so he may as well start cranking out Roaches right now, but will he or will he not is the real question. There is not a Roach Warren for Madison just yet. I'm looking at this as being maybe some kind of a +2/+2 Roach timing attack. Yes, he's going for the Roach Warren right now. As soon as we see +2 started for Madison, what I think could happen is he'll probably start on the Glial Reconstitution as soon as he has the ability to without Roach Warren when it's finished. There we go, +2/+2 starting up right now. A little obsessive compulsive, gets both of them started at the same time. And I'd like to highlight at this moment that basically we see that the Zerg missile attacks and Carapace take 190 seconds to finish. Assuming that the Glial Reconstitution starts about 30 seconds from now, then we'll see basically Roach speed and missile attacks and Carapace will finish up at the same time, resulting in a +2/+2 timing attack, if you will. Beautiful spine crawler placement here by Madison. That's something, you know, I'm very pessimistic about ZVZ. What I will typically do as a Zerg player facing off against another Zerg player is I'll go with a single base Baneling all in. I really don't like ZVZ. And that's probably why I'm still only Diamond NA. Platinum, Korea, and Taiwan, and only Masters on the mainland China server. Now, Overseer gets into the main, sees that there is a lair. He doesn't see anything too specific or indicative of roaches just yet. He did scout the double evolution chamber, so maybe he's got some kind of clue. But he hasn't scouted the roach one yet, which is the big part. And fun fact of the day, if your Overseer is directly over a Baneling and you drop a Changeling on top of it, it'll basically force a detonation on that Baneling. Interesting, right? But the Changeling has to land right on top of that Baneling, so. But beyond that, what we see coming from TempO is... Wow. I'm sorry, I read into this wrong. He's also getting Burrow. This is going to be an ultra-effective timing attack that we will see from Madison. But TempO just now only getting his +1/+1, and that's going to make, you know, holding this attack even more frustrating. Madison already getting out all of the Overlords, and Glare Reconstitution is done, but we only have a handful of roaches out on the map. Uh-oh. And it looks like Madison made a mistake there. There we go. A lot more roaches in production. He forgot to start spreading creep on top of that. Or, excuse me, he turned this into an Overseer, and of course it was no longer spreading creep on top of that Spine Crawler. TempO is moving out with an army supply presently at about 64. It is superior, yes, but some of that is still in production. And the biggest problem that we have for Madison is that even though he doesn't have the numbers right now, he's going to have the upgrades. And the reinforcements arrive. He should be able to hold this with very little trouble, even though he lost the Spine Crawler. Lings chasing down those roaches will allow them to basically net the roaches and slow them down. A couple of Banelings did go in there to try and just scatter the Zerglings, get them away, but of course they're already +2/+2, which means they, you know, that attack, those Banelings, they're just not so effective anymore. But beyond that, TempO pulling his Overlords along for the ride. I'm not sure what that's all about. But Madison now integrating Hydras into the mix, which means now when he actually decides to push back, he's gonna have that much more oomph to his attack. Hydras have some of the highest DPS in the game, and of course with the roaches tanking in front of his Hydras, that's just gonna mean that the Hydras are safely able to snipe any roaches that can be thought of. If you just think of the instance from Spaceballs where that wannabe Han Solo guy was holding back that wannabe Darth Vader guy, then I think you've got the right concept. Like, the taller guy there takes no damage, if that makes sense. Alright, so, third not fully functional from Madison, but he's already at a staggering supply, so you know, supply lead, excuse me. So I don't think that's too severe. I don't think it matters too much, but TempO swinging in again, and I think he knows just what kind of hot water he's in right now. That Queen's going to shut this down. And now TempO is going to hold on for dear life. He's trying to get a concave going, but he was caught off guard. One Baneling in for the ride as well, just in case they have to connect to some Hydras, but good luck getting past the roaches. Nice concave here, but it's just not looking all that great for TempO just now. I mean, look at the numbers. It's the upgrades that are telling the story right now. The entire blue Zerg Swarm here for Madison is just absolutely tearing everything apart as he A-moves into the natural. The Hydras getting uncontested damage in. And I think it just might be GG in a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. TempO at 102 supply to the 193 of Madison. Both players on equal economy, more or less. But in the end, TempO just isn't able to hold his ground, and there it is, the GG. Alright guys, so if you liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time. Help a guy out who's in Korea.